Hi there, Courtney. Thank you for opting in to the video critique. I just glanced over your magazine spread. I think you're off to a really good start. There are definitely some things I'm going to suggest that you can do to take it to the next level. But a few things that I like the typography choices that you've made. I like your color scheme, this blue and this green. It looks really fresh. You're operating with the rule of contrast already by having these large subheadings, which look really good. And so you're off to a strong start. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to recommend for you to do, and I recommend it for everyone, is to take off any black strokes that you place on any color shape. Um, it tends to go like 1980s newsletter whenever we add black strokes to anything, to an image, to a shape. So I don't I can't think of a time in the last 5 years where I've done it. It usually almost always looks better to remove those black shapes, okay? So go ahead and remove the black stroke here, and your shape, just like it does over here with the blue, will instantly look more modern and clean, all right? And I would definitely do it up here. I think I would recommend that you go ahead and just have this continue off the page. If all three pages were lined up side by side, it would look kind of neat for this to end. Well, actually, you're aligning it with this, huh? Interesting. Okay, that works. I think that works. You can keep it. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about your title. I like that you have Best Books a little bit larger than this. It's in the same font and it's actually not that much bigger. So following that rule of contrast, could you make Seek Ye Out of the Best smaller, or Seek Ye Out of the smaller and Best Books even larger? Okay, so following that rule of thirds, we kind of want to play around with maybe having Best Books take up 2/3 of the page, and then Seek Ye Out of, it could either stay where it's at or it could become right aligned and have all of it right aligned here. Okay, so play around with moving this a bit and increasing the contrast between these two elements of your title. You could even play around with a different color or a different typeface, or a different typeface, maybe something, one of these. Seek Ye Out of could be something similar to this typeface. All right, I would pull this a little bit further away from the edge because this is where your margin of your page probably would be. Actually, it would be on this side, but this is where the edge of the page is going to get cut. So I would pull this a little bit farther away just to be safe, okay? I actually like what you've done here because you've made a choice, but it's not industry standard to have every paragraph start with a larger letter. And in fact, I think you should only do that at the very beginning of the article. You could maybe get away with it after these subheadings. So if you love it, you can keep it after the subheadings, but don't do it on every paragraph, okay? I like your image that you've taken here. I like that it's a full bleed. That looks really good. You obviously have it text wrapped, which is one of the requirements. Here's a text wrap as well. This subheading looks larger in size than this one. Perhaps you did that because Ghost was getting bumped down and creating a widow. But I think I would make this one smaller to match the same size of this because all your subheadings should be the same type, same color, same size, okay? Let's see, you have a good amount of spacing around these, which is nice. For your images down here, I would increase the amount of space on that text wrap box between where your image ends and where your words begin, okay? So go to Window, Text Box, and open the text wrap options and increase the amount of space. You're going to see some numbers down under where it says wrap to object shape or wrap to box, whatever you have selected, and increase that a little bit. It might be set at like 0.1 right now. Bump it up to 0.2 or 0.25. And you will probably need to do that to this one as well. Okay, now these two images, I feel like they're on the page, but they're not really asserting themselves. And kind of the hierarchy you want when you look at a magazine is you want the images to jump out at you first. Then you want the title to jump out at you. Third, you want things like your pull quote and your subheadings to jump out. All right, so when I look at this page, honestly, my eye goes here. I see your pull quote and your subheading. So that means either maybe we don't need this image on the page, or it means we need to make this image bigger. All right, so I'll leave that choice up to you, whatever you want to do. I don't know if you do need this image. If I was you, I might be more tempted to take this image and make it 2 to 3 times as large. Okay, so if you had that image and it took up a good amount of this page, it's really going to be compelling and visually arresting to have such a big image on the page, especially because this image is sized reasonably as well. It makes sense for one of the images on the page to be big and bold. Okay, so I would play around with that a bit. The other thing that I think you could introduce is a little bit more white space. Between your two columns here, this is a pretty narrow gutter. I think this needs to be a little bit larger. It's a little better over here, but it could even be a little larger here. And then you could pull this writing away from the edge of the page a little bit. Think about having more white space in the middle of the page, around the edges of the page, and then introducing it where you can within the page on places like your headings and around images. Okay, so bigger image. I would probably get rid of a few of these paragraphs to give yourself some room for other things to make a statement and also for your eye to have visual rest. For most readers, looking at this 2 pages is going to be intimidating. And so as opposed to having so much type on the page, you want to create other elements that are going to help them keep their eye on the page. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, if you're working on your second draft and you get stuck, you're not quite sure which choice to make, feel free to shoot me an email with your second draft. I'll take a quick look at it and write you back with the direction that I would go. At this point, you're off to a good, strong start. You just need to keep on making choices that are going to help it look even more professional. Okay, so that's it. Good luck this week. Bye.